I believe we can learn a lot from the different ways dyslexic adults deal with their dyslexia. As a dyslexic myself, I know what impact dyslexia can have on an individual's life. You might have heard the saying that you don't grow out of dyslexia, you grow into it. From my experience, this is true, and this then led me to the question, how do dyslexics actually grow into their dyslexia? So I went on a search for academic articles and papers to find an answer. And I found these 4 different ways dyslexic adults tend to deal with their dyslexia. The first one is called alternative compensation, and it involves the pursuit of an area that is not affected by the learning difference. For me, that has been cooking for a long time. I worked in a professional kitchen for almost 5 years. The paper stated that these individuals felt secure in their area of expertise, however, less so when it came to their intelligence. They also felt like they were under-challenged at work. People in this group might say things like, my work is kind of boring at times, or I regret not having gone to university, or I'm good at what I'm doing, but I'm not really satisfied. The takeaway from this strategy is that we can gain a lot of confidence by focusing on the areas that are not affected by our dyslexia. But it does not seem like the perfect solution. So let's move on to the next one. The next group of dyslexic adults is described as having gifted overcompensation, which means that these dyslexics focus on an area of giftedness. For some, this might be related to sports. And then they really throw themselves into it. They work a lot. And it seems as if this drive that they have is motivated by past experiences of failure. It almost seems like they want to make up for it. People that fall into this category might say things to themselves like, you're lazy, or you're not working hard enough, or if I can make this happen, people will think that I'm okay. Then they don't think that I'm stupid. These dyslexics achieve a lot. However, it also looks like they put themselves under a lot of pressure and that they have quite stressful lives. So let's move on to the next one. The next group is simply called compensation, and these individuals have slowly over the years adapted to their environment, to school, and also to work. These individuals also tend to have degrees that are more in line with their actual intelligence, and therefore they also feel better about themselves in general when it comes to their self-esteem and their intelligence. Things that you might hear within this group of dyslexics include, over the years I have worried less and less about my dyslexia. Independently of my dyslexia, I do what I want. I'm in history, I'm coaching, and my dyslexia can't affect that. These dyslexics still had issues with self-esteem, however their achievements in life made a big difference. This group reminded me of a quote from Maslow. He was a famous psychologist, and he said, what a man can be, he must be. This need we call self-actualization. So he reminds us of the fact that it's very important for us to try and find ways how we can fulfill our own potential. The last group is described as having tentative compensation, and tentative is defined as something that is done without confidence or with hesitation. This means that these dyslexics are still trying to figure out effective compensation strategies, coping strategies that can help them. However, they haven't really found them yet. These types of dyslexics might say things like, I avoid reading and writing, or I'm always going to worry in the back of my mind. Or they ask themselves, am I going to be fired? If you feel like you fall into this category, then have a look at the categories that I've already mentioned, and maybe you can walk away with some useful insights. I have, for example, focused on video, which is a form of alternative compensation. I can also relate to overcompensating. I've definitely had times where I worked way harder than I should have out of fear that my best wouldn't be good enough. So that is something that I personally need to keep in mind. And when it comes to the compensated group, I can tell you from my experience reaching my MA that definitely did give me an extra confidence boost. So it's worth fighting for, in my opinion. So here you have it, 4 different ways dyslexics tend to deal or grow into their dyslexia. What about you? Can you relate to these groups? If so, let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, give it a like, and see you in the next one.